If you shower or brush your teeth or try to make your hair look presentable, here's some good news. Dollar Shave Club has a lot of stuff to help you out. Dollar Shave Club delivers everything you need to look, feel, and smell your best. Shampoo, conditioner, body wash, toothpaste, hair gel, even a wipe that leaves your tush feeling tingly clean. All of Dollar Shave Club's products are made with top-shelf ingredients that won't break your budget. You'll feel the difference. Plus, shipping is free with your membership. And here's a great way to try a bunch of Dollar Shave Club's products for just $5. You can get their Daily Essential Starter Set. It comes with Body Cleanser, One Wipe Charlie's, their amazing butt wipes, and their world-famous shave butter. And their best razor, the 6-Blade Executive. Keep the blades coming for a few more bucks a month and add in a shampoo, toothpaste, or anything else you need. Check it all out at dollarshaveclub.com/Chad. That's dollarshaveclub.com/Chad.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Financial relationships between U.S. and Saudi companies, governmental relationships, things we work on together all across the world. The efforts to reduce the risk to the United States of America from the world's largest state sponsor of terror, Iran.
That's Mike Pompeo, and let's break this thing down because it's complex and it's weird. So you have a guy, a reporter, with kids that are Americans, that works for the Washington Post now, that feels that he's free. He's in Turkey, goes into a consulate there, and then he is murdered, killed, destroyed, eviscerated in acid, cut it into bits and pieces. And now, is it the Saudis or is it not the Saudis that ordered this? How high does this actually go? It's a bizarre relationship. It's a country where, yes, when you look at what happened on 9/11, I'm looking at passports and they say Saudi Arabia. It's a complex relationship that has to do with the fact that we're so intertwined in the financial world, but also it's an important part for us over there because there is a monster that we worry about. And I heard this put great. Sometimes in life we need monsters to fight monsters, meaning, just like... and it sounds horrible. They're calling them monsters. No, but I'm calling what Iran wants to do and the people that they're putting out there to do those things and the state sponsor of terror that they are monsters. Those people are monsters. We can all agree with that. We're not talking about the Iranian people. We're talking about the people out there that really push for those kind of things. And we need our own, right? Like Godzilla attacks something. I mean, King Kong goes and attacks something. What happens? We need our own King Kong. We need our own monster to fight that monster. A lot of that is what this relationship is when it comes to that. The other side of things is the financial relationship. They're huge investors in many of the big companies that you use every single day. They have put tons of money in. Their whole thought process, and the new leader there, the prince, is he wants to diversify to the point where he wants to make it more of a tech world. Green energy, away from fossil fuels, look to the future, become a massive investment, global, huge power when it comes to that. He needs us, and in some ways, we like the money. Now the question is, what do we do? That's just it. What do we do? Trump, he doesn't think that right now he's inclined to believe the Saudis had nothing to do with it.
He sure seems inclined to believe those denials, as he told the Associated Press, "Here we go again, you're guilty until proven innocent. I don't like that." And then he actually went on to compare the situation with the Saudis and the accusations against his Supreme Court pick, Brett Kavanaugh, saying, quote, "We just went through that with Justice Kavanaugh, and he was innocent all the way as far as I am concerned." The president seems very much inclined to believe the Saudi denials in this.
I don't believe it. So you have to ask your question, what do we do in this area? Because it is important. This may be the biggest issue that Trump will have to deal with in his entire presidency, and considering the long-term global side of things. The thought of Kim Jong-un, a lot of these other things, while it's going to be important to get nuclear weapons away from them and for stability in that region, the reality is this place is a hotbed all the time. The reality is that while Kim Jong-un rattles his saber and screams and yells and throws a tantrum like a kid, the fact is Iran, ISIS, Hezbollah, Al-Qaeda, Yemen, all of these places is a nightmare. And it's been a nightmare for a very long time. And the thought of Iran gaining any kind of foothold and starting to spread out even more is terrifying, not just for Saudi Arabia and Israel, but for all of the Middle East. And the destabilization that could come from it is huge. So what do? Do we go and say, hey, look, you know what? We're going to have to find something else. We got to find something else. We do. We have to find something else. He doesn't think they did anything. At least there's no proof there. For me, I tend to believe that they didn't just walk in there out of coincidence, saw a guy, got into something. No, doesn't happen that way. Does not happen that way.
I think he's dead. I mean, the aliens didn't abduct him. I think he's dead. And all indication is that the Saudis did it.
I love Kennedy. Ron Kennedy is hilarious. This guy is awesome. Producer Anthony and I were talking. He needs his own show because some of the stuff he says is great. But this goes back to the thing I was talking about. Yeah, he's dead. Acid, bone saw.
Before he went in, a group of Saudi Arabians went into the consulate, and they took in an autopsy expert and a bone saw. They didn't take the bone saw in to play beer pong.
No, they didn't. So now the big thing is, what are the Republicans going to do? What are they going to do? Because they're against the president in this, right? Like Lindsey Graham and several others are like, nope, we're done. And we've gone to the mat for you guys on numerous occasions. We were the ones who are pushing for this arms deal. And if this is the way this is going to go, this is what's going to happen. This is how you're going to do something and conduct business. Sorry, we got to go. We got to find some other, if you will, monster.
We can't condemn other despots for butchering their own people if we don't condemn Saudi Arabia. But that doesn't mean that we have to just cut them off like a dead stump, that's like some of my colleagues want to do. Realistic.
Well, and part of that is that complex situation. And maybe we diversify ourselves in this area. Maybe we do. Maybe we look towards other potential countries in that region that we have some sort of relationship with that's not awful, that we can eventually empower them to do some stuff. That's a possibility. But I do know that Trump's got to figure something out, and they're going to blame him. The funny thing is, if you listen to the left, this is all his fault.
We've got a president that has already named journalists as being the enemy of the people. So don't be surprised when other countries take on a journalist, murder them, chop them into pieces, and dispose of them.
Did Donald Trump, who has always been critical of the Washington Post, always been critical of its ownership, did anybody in the administration, did Jared Kushner, did they give MBS a nod and a wink to say it's okay?
The message that the president has frequently sent to the American people and to his supporters that the media are the enemy of the people.
And you wonder if enemy of the people rhetoric has anything to do with this.
It was within months of Trump taking office that they saw the worldwide threats to journalists
of speech and dissent suddenly are very endangered around the world.
No. The fact that you would say, did they give him a wink and a nudge like it's okay, is a bunch of crap. It's absolutely a bunch of crap. But that's what you do. You go on and you say the most outrageous things as possible, as if he called up the prince himself and said, dude, snuff this guy. He's got 3 American kids and he's working at the Washington Post, but he's a scumbag. Go ahead and snuff this guy. We're okay with this because we don't like journalists either. No. It's a complex and ugly situation that isn't going to be dealt with in the way that where we just cut them off, because it just can't be that way because of how complex it is, because of the financial ramifications, because of a lot of things. There's a reason that all of these big companies were going to, quote unquote, Davos in the desert because of it. There's got to be something. There has to be something more than just a slap on the wrist. There's got to be something. But at the same time, can't just cut him off at the stump, as Kennedy said. So we're going to have to figure something out. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. Nobody won last night. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Nobody won. Nobody. Zero zitch nada. Nobody won what? The money.
Now for the Mega Mall.
Bad news for all those Mega Millions players hoping not to have to go to work this morning. No jackpot winner last night, but now Friday's prize will be worth a record $868 million at least. And don't forget tonight's Powerball drawing. That jackpot, at least $345 million.
Plug in, play on, America.
$325 million. So $868 million still out there. Based on just today, because this probably can get more towards 9, the cash payout's about $465 million. That could be closer to $500 come drawing time. And you're going to walk away with probably $250 to $320 million, depending on where it finally ends up. That's walk-away money. That's like, hey, walk away. That's some good walk-away money. You're living life large at that point in time. You can afford a 3-bedroom house in Silicon Valley, right? With a couple roommates. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Phil, if you won that, let's just say, would you start a company? If there's some company you would like to start or something you'd throw money at?
No, I would just...
No?
I would just disappear.
Yeah, you're really into the disappearing thing. That's just it. You know what you should do, dude, is you should release a single, and then you should buy it 1,000,000 times and push it up to the top and buy your way into royalties.
I like the way you think.
That is a great idea. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Welcome to the Alt Middle, where solutions live and ignorance dies. The Chad Benson Show.
Adults of legal age can purchase and possess cannabis from authorized retailers. They can also grow their own cannabis plants at home in some jurisdictions.
Canada! Oh, Canada! But now it's going to be all... You know, perfect ban for Canada now that weed is legal now. So I think the perfect ban, would you say, is UB40? Probably. A little watered down, little crackery. Oh, for sure, eh? Got to kill you white people. Nope, legal is weed. Weed is legal. Man, I'm on drugs. It's what's crazy. Can you believe that? It's legal in Canada, and it's not legal here. It's legal in a weird way. Like, it's federally, it's illegally. You can't have it. So you can't have it. But if you're in Colorado, you're in California, you're in Washington State, and a few other places, you can have some weed. It's so weird. It's so weird. Speaking of that, listen to this guy, who I think is, how should I say this at best? He is, he's high.
It's like a crack in the puritanical ideals of the past.
Totally, brother, totally. So it is legal there, and there's a reason for it, because it should be. As a person who does not smoke, who does not drink, who does not do drugs, and never even tasted alcohol, do I care that weed is legal? No. Do I care, and do I think it should be legally used nationwide by people who are adults and able to do that in their own homes or wherever that they can do it legally and not be a hindrance to society and or a threat? Absolutely. I 100% think it should. And the fact that it's illegal because of hemp and paper and Hearst is just ridiculous. It's time to make it legal because, as we know, when it comes to prohibition, does anybody think it works?
Strict prohibition does not work. Under the previous approach, it was easier for a teenager to gain access to a joint than a bottle of beer. Well, as we said, criminals reap huge profits.
Yeah, absolutely. The one thing is my fear is I'm hearing from states where it's legal and cities and stuff is where it becomes legal, states step into the point where they make it ridiculous, overpriced, and then people usually have to decide, hey, do I want to get this weed here, or do I just want to get the cheap dime bag down the street? And that's not helping it either. But it's a growing, learning thing. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. I just put it on the top of my drink, and it sounded like I killed a seal. Each and every day at this time, kids, as we get serious right now, we like to give you a little something that you can take out on the streets of America, Canada, wherever else you may be listening to this wonderful, wonderful show. We call this our Urban Word of the Day.
It's time for the Urban Word of the Day, fam.
What? Right now?
Time to get a little more hip on the streets.
I can't understand a word you're saying.
Urban Word of the Day.
This one, when you're sitting there, right, and you're looking at somebody, and you're like, what are you doing? You're like, oh, man, I'm sorry. I'm in my bag. What? I'm in my bag. What does that mean? You're in your own world, right? You're doing your own thing. Man, Jimmy's over there in his own bag. He's doing his thing. He's in a bag right now. In your own world. I get that. You ever done that where you're zoning out and you're like, what are you doing? Oh, yeah, sorry. I'm in a bag. I'm in my bag. I'm in my own world. I'm in my own thing. Living my life. Doing my thing. Thinking about stuff. That's why I'm a little bit out of it. In my bag is your Urban Word of the Day.
Thank you for saying that in dated urban slang so that I'll understand you. That there was the Urban Word of the Day. We damn stretched your cranium.
Since 1969, Carol Spinney's been the voice and, for a while, the body of one of Sesame Street's most beloved characters.
Oh, hi. I'm cleaning up around my nest.
Yep, that's Big Bird. He also has been the voice of Oscar the Grouch.
Oh, I love trash.
But now Carol is 84, and though he stopped climbing inside the Big Bird costume a while ago, he says in recent years the performances have been getting more difficult. He'll travel to the show's studio in Astoria, Queens for the last time on Thursday.
Big Bird's going to retire. What? I wonder if they can find somebody to do that. 84 years old. Did you ever see the Big Bird documentary, Phil? God, it was great. And it was riveting, and it was sad when he talked to that little girl who was dying. But man, what a thing. 84 years old, and that was your life. You look back and you say, what did you do? I made kids smile. That's a pretty damn good thing to say. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Speaking of good things to say, I've got something, and it's absolutely free for you. If you're over the age of 50, it's called AMAC, Association of Mature American Citizens. They're incredible. First and foremost, why would you give your money to something like ARP, where they're left-leaning, they're fighting against a lot of things in the world that you yourself believe in, and that's not what you're looking for. You're looking for somebody who's politically kind of lining up with you and is going to help you in other ways, like give you benefits like travel, retail, restaurant, hotel discounts, right? Will ARP give us but not like these guys. And get ready for this. AMAC does something else. It's amazing. See, 40% off movie tickets, up to 40% off Disneyland, Disney World, SeaWorld, Legoland, things like that. But the way that they work with you is so incredible. And right now they're giving you a year membership for free. Boom, boom, boom. All you have to do is go to amac.us/Chad. That's amac.us/Chad. 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 It's 1 year free. They don't even want your credit card. Political advocacy, yes, they're going to work for you, but benefits, wow, so many of them. amac.us/Chad. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thought and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Are Republicans going to keep the House?
I think we are. I feel pretty good about it.
Why?
I think our voter enthusiasm is where it needs to be. And more importantly, we have a great record to run on.
Oh, do you really? Yesterday, Trump said, look, if they lose, that's on them. I've been saying for a while, if they lose, that is on them. Why should we give them another chance? There's so many people on Facebook, vote red, vote red, vote red. No, vote for who you think's the best person. Don't just vote red. Don't just vote Republican for the sake of it. And what have they done to earn? Have they done some stuff that's okay? Yeah, but have they done some of the stuff they've promised and they've had the opportunity to? No, they haven't. They haven't done it. And one of the things I'm looking at, we touched on it briefly yesterday, but I can't tell you enough, is that we need to start focusing on getting our spending in order because the revenue side seems to be doing all right. And the economy. Right now, they're in a position where the voter enthusiasm is high because of Kavanaugh. They didn't even try to say, I think they thought the House was lost, so they'll focus on the Senate. So the House is lost. We'll look at the Senate, and we're just going to let that go at this point in time. It's kind of a natural thing anyways. People in power tend to lose. The party in power tends to lose at least the House, if not both. But we can look at the position where if we can hold the Senate, we're good. But then the Kavanaugh thing came. And now they're saying, okay, how do we keep this momentum?
The agenda that we ran on in 2016 is the agenda that we executed in 2017 and 2018, and it's working. The economy is booming. The military is being rebuilt. The Veterans Administration has been overhauled. We have deregulated businesses so they can hire again.
Some of that's true. Absolutely. Some of that is 100% true. And now they're trying to get it. Hey, look, everybody, the economy's rolling. Things are good. You got to have a smile on your face. What is it that's so amazing? How do we keep this thing going? Because the Kavanaugh stuff, as we all know, 20 days from now, they can try to gin it up as much as possible. That's even why you hear Trump talking about, well, we can't blame the Saudis just yet. You guys blame Kavanaugh, and that didn't turn out to be true. Part of that is how do we keep that out there? And people go, oh, yeah, I forgot about Kavanaugh. Because they want to keep the excitement up because they saw it. Right? So now they're going to have to start telling the story about the economy, and they've got every right to tell the story about the economy.
People are excited at the fact they're going to have a double child tax credit this year. People like the fact that their standard deductions have been doubled. Like more money in your own pocket versus paying higher health insurance premiums, I think the answer is pretty clear on this. People like the fact that they're getting bonuses. 90% of American workers have bigger paychecks this year.
Yeah, they do. No matter how much people, oh, no, that's not true. No, people are getting bigger paychecks. Now, high cost of, of gas and some of these other things have eliminated some of those. But could you imagine right now if they didn't have that? People be feeling it a lot more. But the thing that needs to be talked about that both sides completely ignore is this giant cloud hanging over us as we head into midterms. Yeah, you guys want to know what it's called? It's called debt.
Revenues are up this year. Believe it or not, we cut taxes at the beginning of the year, and we have higher revenues this year. Why do we have higher revenues? Because we have faster economic growth, higher wages, more taxes are coming into the government. We had 4.2% growth in this last quarter. That higher economic growth brings in more revenue.
Yeah, it does. That's the weird thing. You know, I hear all the time, well, because of tax cuts, we're not going to bring in the same kind of revenue. We're going to fall further and 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 further behind. Oh, my God, it's going to go to hell. Yeah. No, it's spending. We bring in $1, we spend $1.20. We bring in $1.20, we spend $1.70. We bring in $1.70, we spend $3. We find a way to spend like we're going out of style. And I don't care how much they sit here and they talk about, we need to fix this, because as far as I'm concerned, what used to be the party of, hey, we need to balance the budget, we need to get a surplus, we need to do a lot of things, has become the party that likes to grow the government just as much and spend, all the while telling you and I, well, we better figure out a way not to spend.
The debt will soon eclipse our entire economy and grow to catastrophic levels in the years ahead.
Our debt is a threat to this country. We are on the verge of a debt crisis. Our debt, it's already bigger than our economy. Our debt, it's a sign of overreach. It's a sign that the federal government is doing too much. You don't even balance the budget, not even in 10 years, because you don't get spending under control.
The national debt threatens our way of life. This level of national debt is dangerous and unacceptable.
Yeah, it all sounds great. You say the right thing. This level of debt is unacceptable, but you don't do anything about it. And that's the problem. You don't. You don't do it. How big is it?
The Treasury Department is out with the budget results for the full year of 2018. And here's the headline for you. The deficit in FY 2018, the Treasury Department says, was $779 billion. That's $113 billion more than in the prior year. But the Treasury Department here is emphasizing that it's $70 billion less than forecast in a mid-session review. So they're saying that it's less than we thought earlier this year.
Okay. All right. So it's less. That's good news, right? It's less, but it's the spending. And that's the thing that's a big thing. It's a spending side of things. We continue to go, hey, let's buy this. We'll put it on credit cards with high interest rates, and we'll just keep doing that, and then it doesn't matter because we'll pay it off later. We'll pay it off later. Well, we don't have that much to spend. It's okay. We'll finance it.
For the government, $3.3 trillion outlays, $4.1 trillion. And when you spend more than you take in, that's where you get the deficit, $779 billion for 2018.
Yeah, that is not good. And again, the lip service sounds wonderful.
I have to ask you about the national debt, $21 trillion, the deficit, $779 billion. Some predicting that could reach $1 trillion in 2019. What's going on with the debt?
It's very disturbing, and it's driven by the three big entitlement programs that are very popular: Medicare, Social Security, and Medicaid. That's 70% of what we spend every year. The funding of the government is about 30% of what we spend.
So we overspend on those. And a lot of people take umbrage to the fact that he says, like, Social Security, well, we pay into that. Well, it's a Ponzi scheme. It's a giant Ponzi scheme with no laws. And it needs to be sorted out. And I don't know what that is. I don't know if we look at people in their 30s and say, look, this is what we're going to do. I've always been open to privatizing some of it, doing some of it. We've got to figure some stuff out. And the way that we're doing things isn't we're to try to grow this thing, to make it, solve it, to keep it there. But then you've got all these other things out there and the fat that's everywhere. Trump today took a run at it. And I like the fact that he took a run at trying to come up with some stuff.
I'm having a cabinet meeting in a little while, and we're going to ask every secretary to cut 5% for next year.
Yeah, cut 5%. Who's up for that? I'm raising my hand.
That's a very, very important request that I'm making of everybody sitting around this table. It's tremendous amounts of money, and it's something that we can do, and I believe we can actually do it easily.
Yeah, I think we could too, but just because we can do it doesn't mean we will. So he's out there telling all of his people today, look, here's the deal. And this is the way I would do it. If it's a private sector, right? So you and I have a company, right? We've got XYZ widgets. And business is good, but the problem is to keep ourselves alive for a long time, we overspent. Now we go to our group and we say, look, here's the deal. We got some issues. We're going to be fine if we do the right things and we can fire a certain amount of people today. Or everybody can take a bit of a pay cut and we can level this thing out. And when we get back to the point of where we should be, we can put that pay back out there. So we can sacrifice in one way or we can sacrifice in another way. Thomas Sowell, I love him. You guys know who he is. He's great. He was saying that there are no solutions, right? In big problems, there's only trade-offs. So what is the trade-off now? The trade-off is we've got to figure out how to get this thing sorted out. And I think one of these things is saying we've got to make some cuts. We absolutely have to figure out how we're going to make some cuts because what we have right now isn't working. And we've got to chop some of this stuff up.
Get rid of the fat. Get rid of the waste. And I'm sure you can do it. I'm sure everybody at this table can do it. It'll have a huge impact.
Yeah, it will be. It'll have a huge impact. But what's that going to be? Because even cutting 5% off certain things isn't going to get us where we need to be. But then people go, well, what about those entitlements and Social Security and all of those kind of things? It's tough because nobody has the cojones to go in and say something honestly about we need to sort this stuff out, because the minute you do, you become a target for all kinds of groups who want you gone, throwing grandma from the train or off a cliff or making somebody homeless, all the things that they can do to make you look bad. So everybody just avoids it.
There's been a bipartisan reluctance to tackle entitlement changes because of the popularity of those programs. Hopefully, at some point here, we'll get serious about this. We haven't been yet.
No, Mitch. And it sounds great and it sounds wonderful, but the reality is nobody has the cojones enough unless they know I'm going to go, I'm powerful enough to be a player there. And then you're retiring or you're only going there once, but you can make enough noise to try to take something on. That's the only way you have a shot. Outside of that, you don't have a shot because you are going to be thumped. You are. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. And I've always wondered why it's like I have common sense, right? So I understand that I've paid money into Social Security that I probably will never see. I'm not angry about it. But what I do want to do is I want to stop the continual theft if you're not going to make it right and fix it. That's the issue I have. Other people are worried. And even no matter how many times you say, look, we're not kicking you off Medicare and we're not Medicaid. We're not going to take away your Social Security. What we're trying to do is fix it for the future. But people still panic. And that shows you how easy it is to go to the American people and fool them. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet us. By the way, today we are going to, oh my God, we are going to talk about the greatest website of websites that is awful, hilarious, sad, intriguing. We're going to do it next. You're going to get lost in it. Some of you will send me text messages saying, I can't believe you sucked me into this. Now I know what I'm doing all night. Producer Phil, that's what you said. It is crazy. And I got people around here in the station looking at it, and I'm getting text messages from other people saying, I can't believe I'm sucked into this, but I'm going to do this. You will probably do it. Some of you will do it, and it's going to be hilarious. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. One of the other things you need to do is get a Casper mattress. What? Wait, why? I'll tell you why. For me, what it is it's great for my body. Right? It is. It's amazing. For all the years that I've worked out and I played sports, there are sometimes nights I would just get up, and when I'm not on my Casper mattress, I could tell the difference, like sleeping on a rock. And I love it. I do. It's no brainer. It's the high quality mattress. Plus I sleep cool, which is always awesome. Come on, we all know that. Every once in a while you wake up in the middle of the night and your pillow's like sopping wet. You're like, ugh. You don't have to worry about that with Casper. It's incredible. Ships right to you. Small, itty-bitty box. You'll be like, how do they do that? It's incredible. And if you don't love it, they'll even pick it up. You don't have to worry about anything. From its engineering to packaging, it is incredible. 100 nights, risk-free. You try it right there in your own home. Boom. That is putting money where your mouth is. All you have to do is go to Casper.com. When you do, use my code Chad. You're going to get $50 toward the purchase of a selected mattress. That's Casper.com. Code Chad. $50 off right there. Selected mattresses. Casper.com. Terms and conditions apply. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. ChadBenson. It's nuts. It's crazy. You're going to love it, and you're going to be mad at me at the same time. Straight ahead, Chad Benson Show.
You go, boy.
This isn't about right or left. This is just about right and wrong.
Right you are, Chad. The Chad Benson Show.
Now, I'm going to do something right now that you guys will hate and love at the same time. There is a website out there that I got sucked into last night, and I've continuously gone down the rabbit hole. Producer Phil, you too have gone down the rabbit hole as well. It's called Cameo.
What's up, everyone? This is Ryan Lochte, and I'm so excited to be a part of Cameo.
What's going on? It's Lance from NSYNC. And Brady, I was really impressed with the dance moves of your nephew, and I was thinking maybe we could start a new boy band.
Hello, Tom and Gregory. Happy birthday. I understand that you're both turning 60 this fall, but the celebrations are not even. That doesn't sound right. It sounds a little gay.
Hello, Sophie. This is Todrick Hall, and this video is to you from your best friend.
It's me, Andy Dick, giving you a shout out from your boyfriend, Jonathan.
Hey, Melinda. Brett Favre here. I wanted to wish you a happy 60th.
Hey, Stacy. It's Tommy Lee. What's up? Your husband says I'm a rock star, but you know what? You're the fucking rock star.
That is Tommy Lee. Those are all those people. And when you go to Cameo, what it is you sign up for it if you want to, and you can choose these celebrities, and based on certain prices, they will give you a shout out, a personal little video. Now, Producer Phil, do you know who just signed up today? I signed up, but you know who else did? Who? Michael Bain. Remember him from Aliens and the Terminator movie? Yeah, he signed up. So you can now go to that guy. Yeah, that guy. The guy who created John Connor. That guy. That's what I'm talking about. There's all kinds of people here. Riff Raff. That's a rapper, apparently. My favorite, did you know there's a rapper called Bumpy Knuckles? Rapper, producer? Do not know him. But some of the other stuff, politics, they got all kinds of people on here. Reality shows, stars, YouTubers, but lots of actors, Disney stars, and you just pay them whatever they ask. Yeah, I might do Andy Dick. I'm not sure, but there's a possibility that I'm going to do Andy Dick and have him say, Chad Benson's awesome, because he's nuts, and he'll do anything. It's $50 for him. $50. And producer Phil, you have a person on here that you kind of think is cool beans. That's Ian Ziering. Is that his name?
That's him.
Yeah. $150. He'll give you a shout out. Whatever it is. That is incredible. They got pro football players like Brett Favre and others. They got Vanderpump Rules. They got, Howard Stern's crew is all on there. And you go on there and you're like, this is stupid. And then 2 hours later, you're like, I can't take my eyes off this stuff because it's a weird kind of sad yet interesting thing. They've got magicians. Why? Comedians aplenty. Some of them you've heard of, some of them you haven't. But it is a weird kind of GoFundMe for D-listers. Kathy Griffin, she's not taking, but I just saw Santa Claus. I just saw Santa Claus on there. So if let's just say, for the sake of argument, you wanted, who's somebody, Eric Griffin, who I like. If you saw him, you guys would probably recognize him. It's $45. And he gets back usually within 3 days. So what you do is you type in your name. This video's for Chad, blah, 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 email, the whole 9 yards. You send it off, and you tell him what to say, and he says it, and you'll get sucked into it tonight, and you'll be like, oh. Larry Wilcox from Chips. Yeah, John, $25. Think about that. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. ChadBenson. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. Also, check out Chad Benson Show TV on the old YouTubes. It is the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Told me they were going to conduct a thorough, complete, transparent investigation. They made a commitment to hold anyone connected to any wrongdoing that may be found accountable for that, whether they are a senior officer or official. They promised accountability.
Including a member of the royal family?
They made no exceptions to who they would hold accountable.
Now we're finding out more as Pompeo visited with officials, and he basically said, look, here's the deal. You guys better figure something out, and you better come out clean with this. Otherwise, Trump's hand is going to be forced because you've got people that went to bat for you that are ready to pull the plug completely on everything to do with you. Do you understand that?
This guy is a wrecking ball. He had this guy murdered in a consulate in Turkey, and to expect me to ignore it, I feel used and abused. I was on the floor every time defending Saudi Arabia because there's a good ally.
And the reason that Lindsey Graham feels the way he feels is because he has been on the floor. He is pushed, along with several other Republicans, to become allies, to really become a force that can work together with the likes of Saudi Arabia for a lot of reasons, some of which we're going to get to in a moment. But he pushed for these arms deals and things, and now he's looking at this thinking, okay, you guys have made a mockery of this. You've made us look like idiots. But, and there's a but, it's not just as easy of saying, yeah, you know what, we're done with you.
Financial relationships between U.S. and Saudi companies, governmental relationships, things we work on together all across the world. The efforts to reduce the risk to the United States of America from the world's largest state sponsor of terror, Iran.
And therein lies the issue. Not just Iran and all of this stuff. No. It's also the money side of things, because they've invested heavily in a lot of our companies. We're intertwined with some of their things. This is a very complex situation that is not just as simple of saying, we're done, we're out of here, gotta go. And Mr. Kennedy here, Republican, Louisiana, he understands that.
We can't condemn other despots for butchering their own people if we don't condemn Saudi Arabia. But that doesn't mean that we have to just cut them off like a dead stump. It's like some of my colleagues want to do. That's unrealistic.
Yeah, but those colleagues feel used, and I understand that. So the question is, what do we do? Well, first of all, we need to get as straight an answer as we're going to get. What ended up happening inside of there? Because we know that there is a lot of issues. Their stories don't jive. Even though they've kind of admitted for all intents and purposes that they did something, it's how high did it go? Was it sanctioned, or did he find out afterwards? Those are going to be the things that need to be answered. And we'll probably never find out how high that went until eventually those emails get hacked later on down the line and WikiLeaks release them. But until then, we know what happened, and we're starting to get a clearer picture of stuff. And don't say it was a botched situation that went kind of awry.
Before he went in, a group of Saudi Arabians went into the consulate, and they took in an autopsy expert and a bone saw. They didn't take the bone saw in to play beer pong.
No, they didn't. They didn't. And was he put in acid? All of these things are starting to pop up. And it's an ugly situation, and the world's looking. And the world's looking at, what are we going to do? And the fact is they do matter at this point in time. You know, sometimes in life you have to have, enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of thing. And the reality is this is not a great relationship, but it's not an awful relationship. It's a trade-off as opposed to some of the other relationships that we might be forced to get into moving forward. And this guy wasn't a citizen, but he was a resident, worked for the Washington Post, has 3 sons that are Americans. A lot of people are looking around the world at this and wondering, what are we going to do? Because as we go, this will go. Not only is it the financial side, but the whole thing with Iran and trying to mitigate anything they may do as far as Hezbollah and exporting their hatred. And, I said it earlier, and I'll say it again, is, you watch, King Kong comes to destroy your town, your city. Your weapons aren't going to work. Your thing isn't going to work. So what do? You go find another monster that can compete. That's kind of what's going on there. I'm not saying Iranians are monsters, but I'm saying their head is. The people that are running that is. And this is kind of our version of this is our Godzilla in that area. Do we go out and say, okay, you know what? We got to go find some other ones. That's a possibility. That is. I think Trump can act in a way that looks tough. It's possible, but you just don't know. And it's going to be a very weird situation because I think Trump is looking at this thinking, I really want to move forward with this. I really don't care about this guy because, Trump, he doesn't really, it's not that the reality is Trump didn't know this guy a couple weeks ago, understands what's going on now, sees a bigger picture, but there also has to be a message. And he may go out and say, I'm going to move forward. I'm going to do this. And the Republicans may come out and say, you know what? No, actually, you're not. You're not going to do any of this because we can put a kibosh on along with the Democrats.
I don't think it's fair to impugn the president's motives. I mean, I just don't. We don't have any indication that that's influencing his behavior at all.
Yeah, a lot of people think it is. I mean, listen to some of the rhetoric and the insanity last night about them even hinting that Trump was the reason this guy was killed. These are our people.
We've got a president that has already named journalists as being the enemy of the people. So don't be surprised when other countries take on a journalist, murder them, chop them into pieces, and dispose of them.
Did Donald Trump, who has always been critical of the Washington Post, always been critical of its ownership, did anybody in the administration, did Jared Kushner, did they give MBS a nod and a wink to say it's okay?
The message that the president has frequently sent to the American people and to his supporters that the media are the enemy of the people.
And you wonder if enemy of the people rhetoric has anything to do with this.
It was within months of Trump taking office that they saw the worldwide threats to journalists.
Of speech and dissent suddenly are very endangered around the world.
Not because of Trump. Trump is, look, he at times is a loudmouth. He has a love-hate relationship as they have a love-hate relationship with him. So let's not pretend for a second. Let's not pretend for 1 second. They love every second of who he is. They're talking about Russia right now. Russia. They're doing all kinds of things. They talked about horseface for an hour and a half yesterday straight on CNN to break down the Twitter that he sent, the tweet about horseface. Don't tell me that suddenly you're worried that somehow that you're going to go over Ryan Seltzer, and that you, as you go into the consulate somewhere to do an interview with somebody, that you are going to be snatched up and cut into bits and pieces on the order of President Trump. No. Stop it. There's a wink and a nudge. I love that. Like, oh, yeah, it's okay. You want to kill this guy? Go ahead. Hey, Trump, is this okay? We kill this guy? He's okay? No. Enough of that crap. Look. Not a huge fan of a lot of the stuff he does and says and the way he acts at times. I think it's beneath the office. But to even hint that that's it, but that's part of this crazy world that we live in right now, where it's more about Shakespearean craziness and saying stuff that's going to get you headlines, tweets, and retweets and clicks and views than anything else. But that is insane. But Trump does have a decision to make, and he's going to have to make it sooner rather than later. And I wouldn't be surprised if by Friday or early next week, even over the weekend, that he comes up with something when it comes to them. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. Rod Rosenstein apparently has gone out there and said, hey, guys, you Mueller, you're doing a good job and everything. Well, can we wrap this up? It's about time we start putting a bow on this thing, all right? And apparently he will have released some key details and some other stuff by the looks at it right after the midterms. He will release some stuff, which to me, if I'm Trump and I'm hearing that, and if that's really the truth, I think he's doing it. You know, you could say he doesn't want to influence it, but I feel like that's a win for Trump. Now, apparently there may be some people that were going to be getting served, but you never know. Again, you hear all kinds of things. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens with that and the way that they take this. But it looks like Rosenstein and them are starting to say we've had it. It's enough. It's time to start moving forward on this. So hopefully sooner rather than later. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Love talking. You got a poll question up today. We'll touch on that. But first, kids, it's got that fall feeling. In fact, guys are doing a show next to me, and they're from Denver. They just came on, and like, God, it smells so good in here. I'm like, yeah, I got a candle, right? And that's how I roll. I got a Better Homes and Garden candle right here. Smells great. You know, it'd be even greater. You got flowers from 1-800-Flowers.com. This candle has that fall feeling. How about a fall feeling for you? Maybe that one you love. $36. You're going to get 36 autumn roses. Why is it my favorite? First of all, I like getting roses. I think it's cool. But it's got orange, right? I love it. They got the warm shades of red, orange, and yellow. You put them together, it just feels amazing. The look, the smell. Oh, kids. 1-800-Flowers.com. It's simple. It's easy. Whoever you send it to. Maybe it's your your wife, your girlfriend, both. Maybe it is, your mom, your sister. Maybe it's your husband. It's your boyfriend. Both. You don't know. But whoever you send it to, they're going to go, somebody cares about me. Somebody likes me. Somebody loves me. 1-800-Flowers.com. It's incredible. 36 autumn roses, $36. Unreal deal coming to you. This is how you get the deal. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com. Click on the radio icon. Enter code Benson. That's 1-800-Flowers.com. Code Benson. Radio icon. 1-800-Flowers. Radio icon. Click, click. Code Benson. Benson. Boom. You're going to get that deal. Hurry, though. Offer ends Friday. At Chad Benson shows your Twitter. ChadBenson. Brian Killed Me is going to join us in a little while. Yeah, that guy from Fox. We're going to talk to him about his book. It's out in paperback now. And we'll talk to him about what's going on in Turkey with the whole thing with Saudi Arabia, politics, midterms, the whole 9 yards. He joins us at the bottom of the hour. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
I just got a call from a friend in the coroner's office. The autopsy found that it wasn't a heart attack. Roseanne OD'd on opioids.
Not possible. We knew she had a problem. She was only on pain pills for 2 days after surgery. Then it was just ibuprofen. It's got to be wrong.
Well, I wish it was, but they think that she must have taken the pills right before bed, and with her health issues, it was enough to stop her breathing.
Wait, what? Mom overdosed?
Yeah, that's how they killed Roseanne last night. They were down about 35%, still a healthy-ish, but I think a lot of people tuned in to find out how and what they were going to do, and once they found out, they're like, and now the next episode is going to be the one that people are going to, whether or not they're going to gravitate to it or not, I don't know. I was talking to somebody, today who's like, well, she needs to apologize to everybody. And I'm like, to who? To all the people on the show? I'm like, she's done more than that. And she goes, no, she hasn't. I said, yeah, first of all, she has. I said, secondly, they're working. She's not taking a dime. She gave up her life's work, walked away from it, and they killed her off. I think that's more than punishment enough, right? The falling on the sword in this day and age, the ridiculousness of what we want to do to people who've never hurt us, but because we feel we can pile on at any given time because of this social justice warrior attitude, because something that we've taken to be offensive, that we feel we can demand that they take action, whoever they are, and that we can destroy somebody's life and feel good about ourselves is a bunch of crap. It is. Look, the way they handled it last night, again, you heard it there, that, and then Dan goes and he confronts Mary Steenburgen, who is the neighbor, and because it's real, because the opioid addiction, and they're in the middle of the country, and that, I think they're in Ohio, and it's a very real thing there. I understand why they did that, but did they have to do that? It wasn't punishment enough that she was gone. You couldn't say she just ran off with somebody who had a mental breakdown as the just in case, because they've said, quietly and some not so quietly on the show, this is her show and it doesn't feel right.
Rosie needed painkillers. I had some, so I gave them to her.
So? You're part of a neighborhood drug ring. Congratulations to you.
You can judge, but Roseanne called me. She told me that her knee wasn't healing up fast enough and I was the only person she could turn to. She said that she needed those pain pills to get back to work because you guys were running out of money.
Don't you try to put this off on me. You gave her the pills. She took them. She died. You killed her.
Dad, stop. We just found another stash in the freezer. It's not just Marcy.
Yeah. That's how they handled it. And call it what you want. I call it a bunch of BS. But Chad, she's not racist. She is she's a comic. She's a loudmouth. I think she has some issues. I think she may have some Ambien problems and some other things of that nature. She has said stuff, but when you look at a human being's life, and we're going to judge it on a tweet or a moment, is ridiculous. It really is. But this day and age, there used to be a day and age where people would get big and, you know what, kind of America, people would knock them off their pedestal for a while. But then we wanted just to see if they were set straight, and then we'd like to see them climb again. Now what we want to do is we want to destroy them. We want to waste them as much as possible. We want to bury them, and then we want to pat ourselves on the back as if we've done something heroic. We haven't. We haven't. And 99.99% of the people that wanted her fire never saw that tweet. Sad. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Love it when you tweet at us. Brian Killed Me joins us straight ahead. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
I love the book. He's got more than a few of them, and I enjoy talking to him. We're on several stations together across the country. Joining us now from Fox, and author, esteemed author, Brian Killed Me joins us. And Brian, I always appreciate you coming on here. And I love Andrew Jackson. It's coming out in paper book now, and The Miracle of New Orleans. And it's a great book. What is your fascination with history?
Well, I mean, I just love it. It's ours. Number one, we could go to it, right? So I don't have to go to the Caribbean or go to Europe and study a castle. I could go to another state. And now I feel a special, and you must feel this too on the radio, there's a lot of people here who don't know or just want to disrespect our past. I know we're not perfect. No one can explain slavery. But we have some great people in our past that have all the responsibility in the world that we have a bright future. So I'm just trying to move in and out and try to pick different areas that the John Meachams and the Doris Kearns Goodwins and the Douglas Brinkley, they want to do comprehensive looks at people. Ron Chernow, I can't do that. I'm not capable. I don't have the time. But I'm just trying to find areas of our history that are defining and impactful that don't get enough attention. And that's what I do with George Washington's Secret Six. You know Washington, but you know aspiring. You know Jefferson, but did you know he took on Islamic extremists with the Tripoli pirates? You know Jackson as president and his impact, but did you know how he became the most famous man in America? And that is winning the Battle of New Orleans against the world's number one superpower and doing it in under 45 minutes. I thought if I could do that, I could focus on one area. People would be intrigued to learn the rest about the seventh president.
You know, you talk about Andrew Jackson, and first of all, his influence is huge. And was he the Trump of his day?
Yeah, a couple of things, Chad. That's a great question. In the afterword, as you know, we try to put something new in the book for the paperback. So what I try to do is, since everyone's saying Trump and Jackson, I just took a step back. And I said, well, if you don't like Trump and you don't like Jackson, well, what if I told you that FDR, Teddy Roosevelt, Abraham Lincoln, Ronald Reagan, and Harry Truman all had one thing in common. They studied Jackson, the president, and what led to his leadership principles. And Lincoln. So if you are listening right now and go, I don't like Jackson because of the Trail of Tears, you got an argument. You don't like Jackson because his stance on the banks, okay. You don't like him because he was from the backwoods and didn't have the culture of John Quincy Adams, all right. But I'm going to tell you, there's something special about those past presidents, and they saw something extraordinary in him. So I just try to remove all the judgment and try to get more analysis in there. And that's what I thought. I thought that if Reagan loved him, if Lincoln studied him, if FDR insisted before World War II went off, he insisted on going to Jackson's home in the Hermitage and walking, even with the polio, up the steps into the house to almost feel what Jackson felt because he wanted to almost channel him before the biggest war in their lifetime. And America was indeed on the brink coming out of the Depression. It was FDR that leaned on Jackson. So if Chad Benson doesn't like him and you don't like Brian Kilmeade or Brian Kilmeade's book, there's a lot of other people that want to counter your opinion.
You know what? It's funny that you talk about that because, you talked about earlier is the way that we kind of we damn our history. Our history is exactly what it is, and it's not all beautiful. But I think a lot in this modern time is everybody looks to the exotic and the other worlds and all these things as if they don't have bad history either, and that we have this some sort of shame with our past that we shouldn't have any shame with our past. Whether it be what Andrew Jackson did, you can disagree with some of the things. They thought they were doing the right thing at the right time, and looking back on our modern sensibility, Brian, we all want to just damn everything with retro rage.
Well, look, he had over 100 slaves, and I was just at Monticello doing a shoot for Fox Nation. I'm handling the history on the brand new network we're launching, and I just did a future, and I go down Mulberry Way, and that was where Thomas Jefferson kept his slaves. And you think to yourself, how could a man so bright justify a behavior so wrong? And we can't. But it doesn't mean he didn't write the Declaration of Independence. It doesn't mean he wasn't our third president of the United States. It doesn't mean that he didn't author the Virginia Constitution, start the University of Virginia, and was the brain trust behind some of the greatest things of the first major democracy in the modern world, and spurred many more and gave people the idea that it's not where you were born, you have an opportunity to be successful. That was not the case before America came along. So he did all those great things, but I still will never, and you will never, justify slavery. But I still think we could say he's a person of his time.
Yeah, and we can't get past that because we want to go, whether it's a tweet you do today and then a year from now we decide that's offensive, or something we look back on our history and decide it's offensive. It's this retro rage that drives me crazy. Talking to Brian Kilmeade, Andrew Jackson and the Miracle of New Orleans. It's out on paperback. When's it come out? October?
Yeah, it comes out next week. And what I'm doing on the 19th, 20th, and 21st, America Great from the Start, I'm going to be doing live shows on the stage, talking about these three American stories I wrote about, as well as the two sports books I did, and give people a chance to talk about what's happening in politics in more of a theater setting. So if you go to briankilmeade.com, you can get tickets. I'll be in Tampa, Virginia Beach, as well as, and I'll finish up in Nashville Sunday afternoon.
What is it when you go on stage like this, or when you go into these places? Obviously, you work for Fox, so you kind of have that, here comes this crazy conservative guy, and we're seeing it more and more where people are coming up and getting in people's faces. But then you write something like this, and we're hearing about the likes of Jordan Peterson and many other people going on campuses and disrupting. When you go out there, are you feeling that kind of pushback? Are you getting people that are challenging you with whether it be this, you're writing about Andrew Jackson, he's a horrible human being because he was a slave owner. Are you getting any of that?
Yeah, sure. In fact, C-SPAN televised. I went to some book festival the day of John McCain's funeral. This was still packed, and I'm in D.C., and I'm going in front of maybe 1,500 people, and they said, Brian, do me a favor, save some questions at the end. Now, I had a lot more to say, but I said, well, the promoters want some questions. First question, great. Second question, great. The third question, he hates everything about me, hates everything I've done, probably hates my family, and I'm sitting there on stage, and when it does, it makes everybody feel awkward. Instead of having a probing question, they talk about, wow, how bad Fox is, how Thomas Jefferson wasn't really taking on Islamic extremists. Jackson did a lot of bad things to American Indians. So it's not like they wanted to have a dialogue. It is, I'm in Washington, D.C., where 85% of the people did not vote for Donald Trump or George Bush, and they just have an agenda, and they can't believe the American people or me don't agree with them. So it's not even interesting to talk to. Like, you talk to Juan Williams, you talk to Geraldo Rivera, you talk to Donna Brazile. It's called a conversation. But these people are so angry now, they're not conversations.
No, nobody's interested in a conversation, and people are looking for their 30 seconds soundbite of fame that they're going to get on the internet. But the reality is they don't want to have a conversation because you may come back with something they can't answer. So they want no part of that. They just want to be able to throw the first punch and then run away. And that drives me crazy about today's world because we're not having conversations, Brian. I had a dreamer on the other day. I did a podcast, 45 minutes of Dreamer. It was a great conversation. We had a conversation about everything from sports to what it's like to feel like an American and have troubles here, to his wife and his kids and all of these things. And it was a real conversation. We differed in a few areas and we agreed in some, but we never get to that point anymore because all we want to do is yell at each other.
I think that too. Look, am I going to defend President Trump's writing a horse face for Stormy Daniels? Absolutely not. Am I going to defend calling people, calling Rosie O'Donnell an animal. No. If there's some things that are indefensible that President Trump does, I'm not going to. But in the big picture, I don't look at it, get up every day and thinking how he's destroying the country. If you look at these numbers, you see the economy increasing, you see our defense getting stronger, you see our trade deals getting better. If you want to argue with me, at least acknowledge what's happening and then challenge me, and I'm not going to push back, when you say, does he need to tweet personal attacks? Absolutely not. Is it beneath the office? For me, yes. But can I tell you that his approach is America first in every way? He's lost over $1 billion. This is by conservative estimates by taking this job. His company can't invest internationally. His son is being skewered. His lawyer is being, in a matter of time, is going to be jailed. His CFO has been forced to take immunity. His best friend's office has been raided, and now he's got to get immunity. One of them, anyway, who owns the Inquirer. Think about what he deals with on a daily basis. The Trump name is lauded and hated. It used to be pretty much respected. So why did he do it? At least acknowledge he's doing it for the country. At least acknowledge the trade deal is not so he can build another building in Mexico and Canada. At least acknowledge that he's trying to get a better deal for America. He takes on the EU not for his ego, because he feels as though the trade deals are tilted against us and NATO isn't paying enough. He's not running from allies. Why can't you take a step back and say he's different, but let's see if he's wrong? I want to say, let's see if this works.
Yeah, I don't think people understand that, because they look at everything. They're so emotional, and they've decided to let their feelings, handle everything in their life. And to me, I find that crazy. We're talking to Brian Kilmeade and Andrew Jackson and The Miracle of New Orleans. That's out in paperback next week. Do you think Andrew Jackson would have tweeted? I think a lot of these guys would have got on there. They would have just totally been in trouble like Trump.
Well, Jackson is a good point. When your original question, I did not do a good job answering it, is how are they like? They're like this. They both were despised by the elite, the predecessor, John Quincy Adams, Barack Obama. They were both not accepted as presidents. John Quincy Adams left the White House before Andrew Jackson could even get into the White House, causing a near riot with a lack of security. So you had somebody who not liked but brought his case to the people. Jackson was the first to campaign. When Trump was not accepted by the Republican Party or the Washington establishment, he brought his case to Middle America, and guess where he won? Middle America. He was not worthy of the office. They looked at Jackson, born so poor in the backwoods of the Carolinas. He is too raw and crude to be president. He's not Jefferson, Monroe. He's not Washington. He's not Adams. This guy's got no sophistication at all. He's a military general that, he's good at that, but not this. Meanwhile, he is the American success story. He is the guy that was orphaned at 13, that volunteered for the Revolutionary War, that lost his two brothers during that war, and his mom and his dad before he was born, who was raised by the town, the county, the country, who bled red, white, and blue and lived to get revenge on the people that destroyed his family, and that's the British. That's an American success story. View his policies one way, but understand what he represented. If you come to this country, you can accomplish anything you want, or at least have the opportunity to fail. That's what he represented.
Absolutely. And last question. Appreciate you coming on today. You look at this whole thing going on with Khashoggi and everything that is happening and the way that Trump is looking at it. And, one of my things I'm going to talk about, as I've been talking about throughout the day, is the fact that, Trump looks at this in a much more, macro way than people think. We need Saudi Arabia as much as we don't like that. And in some ways, I was trying to explain to somebody today, sometimes when we fight monsters, guess what we need? We need other monsters. And that's a weird, crude way to say something like that. But that's a way that I think Trump is looking at this. Is it's better them than us when it comes to things like Iran. And I don't think people understand that. But at the same time, what took place is absolutely heinous.
It's like this, Chad. It's like a friend of yours who you trusted comes and robs everything from your house. Wait a second. I gave you the keys to the house. I trusted you. I left for the weekend, and you robbed everything. And they go, yeah, sorry. That can't go unpunished, even though the stuff is replaceable. I mean, Saudi Arabia, with all its warts and all its problems, and a society that's medieval, we still felt as though we could trust them more and could understand them better than the Iranians. And together, we were bringing the Iranians' economy to its knees. And in turn, then goes the financing of Hamas, Hezbollah, and their own forces, the Republican Army, inside Syria. So there could be multiple good things happening, teaming with a government we don't necessarily agree with, but we understood we had each other's back. This Crown Prince, if he green-lighted this massacre of this one journalist who has a green card and 3 American sons, is such disrespect. The president has to make a substantial hit to the relationship, whether it's maximizing Egypt from here on in or going to the smaller nations afterwards. I'm in the Lindsey Graham camp and Bob Corker camp. They both went to bat for Saudi Arabia, made sure they got that arms deal. I am not sure the options Trump has, but we have to stand for something. We have to
absolutely
stand for something. And just, because you got to be able to look your kids in the eye, and your country's got to stand for, and by the way, what's the message to Egypt? What's the message to Jordan? When, if you have somebody else writing things about you, you can go evaporate them with acid after you torture them? Please.
It's just awful, just absolutely awful. The book, it's called Andrew Jackson and the Miracle of New Orleans. Brian Kilmeade, always a pleasure to have you on, man. I look forward to having you on again. We'll talk about other stuff. Sometimes we'll talk about sports, which I love.
Yeah, absolutely. Continued success, Chad. Thanks, man.
Thanks so much, man. Appreciate that. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, ChadBenson. And when I mean monsters, I mean the reality is we don't always like some of the things and the people we have to rub shoulders with, and that's it. And it's do we find a new monster, if you will? Do we find somebody else that we empower in that area that's going to keep Iran in check? There is that possibility. There is. The book, by the way, is amazing, and Brian's a great dude. And again, you don't have to love everything a lot of these leaders did. We look back with all of these retro rages nowadays, but it was the time and it was the era that the likes of Andrew Jackson lived in, and I think it says a lot of who we are. And the more that we try to wipe that out, I think the worse it is for our country. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Running with scissors sounds great compared to this.
Say what? Say what? Hey, those cookies taste funny.
2 weeks ago, I was just about to go into my 6th period class, environmental science, and a girl who's also in the class stopped me and asked me if I wanted a cookie. And I knew her, so, I figured it's a cookie, why not? And I took a bite of it. And she told me there is a special ingredient in the cookie. I was kind of worried. I thought that she had put drugs in it or something. So I asked her, is this a weed cookie or something? And she said no.
Now, first of all, just stop him right there. I just want to stop you right there. First of all, a weed cookie would have just been better.
So I asked her, is this a weed cookie or something? And she said no. She said it was her grandpa's ashes. And then she kind of laughed. And I was kind of horrified.
Yeah, that's what a chick did. I say chick. Chad, you're a horrible, sexist, racist pig. A lady, a young woman. She put grandpa's ashes in the cookie. So there's grandpa. He's dead. And they're like, hey, it's a great idea because I've probably seen a movie where this has happened and everybody laughs. Ha, ha, ha. No, it's gross. It's disgusting. It's vile. Why would you do that? Like, if you wanted to do that, knock yourself out. Like, I got no problem with that. If that's what you think you want to do, knock yourself out. But that's disgusting. Can I just say that? Say what? You know what's not disgusting? Sleeping. My Pillow is amazing. When I go to sleep at night, my head hits the My Pillow. I'm out like a light. I feel amazing. I'm refreshed. I'm energetic. And guess what, guys? Helps with your heart. Helps with your weight. Helps with your blood pressure. Why is that? Because the more that you sleep, the better you feel, the more refreshed you are, the more your body can recharge, the better it feels. You're not putting on weight because you're not searching for energy in food. Yeah, you see where I'm going with this. Study after study show this. My Pillow can help you. That small change goes a long way. Here's what they're doing for you right now. First, 100% machine washable and dryable, made in the USA, 10-year warranty. Boom, buy one, get one free. What? Buy one, get one free. Call 800-983-4975. Go to MyPillow.com. When you do, use code Benson. So you can call them, 800-983-4975 or MyPillow.com, code Benson. You're going to get one for free. Buy one, get one free. MyPillow.com, code Benson. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, ChadBenson. 'Tis the Chad Benson Show.
This is The Chad Benson Show. Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's The Chad Benson Show.
Are Republicans going to keep the House?
I think we are. I feel pretty good about it.
Why?
I think our voter enthusiasm is where it needs to be. And more importantly, we have a great record to run on.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. I think Paul Ryan's a little delusional. I don't think they keep the House. I do think they're going to keep the Senate. And I do think they may even take some seats there. I don't think it's going to be as bad in the House, but I could be wrong. I absolutely could be wrong. But voter enthusiasm is up, and the reason for that is pretty simple. The Kavanaugh thing. That has really, really caused people to go, what? Yeah, the Kavanaugh thing has. And no matter how many times that I tell people this, and the Republicans have missed. Well, the Kavanaugh thing is energized them, but now they need to start looking at other things because this is still, we're 20 days away. And the reality is 20 days is a long time in the world of politics, especially when you're reaching out towards those independent voters. But the more that I talk to people, there's a lot of independents out there. I am one of them. I'm a free agent every single day when it comes to politics. You got to win my vote. You do. I don't expect you to be a miracle worker. And if you ever you go out there and you expect somebody to be the miracle worker for you, you're looking in the wrong place. The only person that's in charge of your life is you. They can make things tougher or easier. But the reality, everything else is on you. So I don't expect you to be Superman or Superwoman and save the world and change everything. I expect you to go do your business. And one of those businesses is the way that you handle the economy. And they haven't talked much about it. And obviously the Democrats don't want to because what they're hoping for is failure. They can't really point to failure at this moment in time. And the Republicans haven't needed to push the economy because of the Kavanaugh thing as enthused them. And I think in many ways, I think that Republicans kind of gave up and thought, well, we're going to lose the House. We'll probably keep the Senate. And now they're thinking, oh, we've got some momentum here. What can we do with it? The economy is booming. The economy is working for people right now. Things will change. It's a cyclical thing. You see the markets go up and down. We will run into a time where we're not going to have unprecedented growth and we're not going to have growth at all. And we will slide back a little bit. Is that tomorrow? No. Is that going to happen right now? No. So you better run and use that while you can.
The agenda that we ran on in 2016 is the agenda that we executed in 2017 and 2018, and it's working. The economy is booming. The military is being rebuilt. The Veterans Administration has been overhauled. We have deregulated businesses so they can hire again.
Yeah, and that's happening. In fact, there's a great article, and we posted on the Facebook page, about Trump maybe being the most honest president in modern history, and it's in the Washington Post. What? Yeah. You ready for this? Now, he said he enacted the largest tax cut reforms in American history. Actually, it's the 8th largest. But the economy is stronger than it's ever been in the history of our country. They talk about that it's not quite there, but it's on its way there. But then it goes through the promises he kept from the U.S. Embassy, from Israel, from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, to destroying ISIS, to rolling back many of those ridiculous regulations, to the travel ban, to doing some of the things that he promised as far as appointing, justices in the mold of Anton Scalia, many things of that nature he has gone and done. And the stuff that he hasn't done, right? The stuff that he hasn't done, he's made an effort to do. And it's weird because when you look at Trump, and, doesn't matter where you are. Doesn't matter if you're in Texas, right? Or if you're in California, or if you're here, in Arizona, where I am right now today. It's one of those things where you don't know what to do because you want to embrace some of the stuff he's done, but you don't want to embrace everything. And you walk a fine line, and you're at this point where you're not quite sure exactly what to do. And he came out yesterday and said, hey, look, if the Republicans lose, that's on them. It's not on me. And in some ways, he's right. I've said it all along for the last several months is, what have you guys done? You did this sweeping tax reform, and you've done some other stuff, but the stuff that you promised, the repeal and price of Obamacare, getting some immigration reform that was actually real done, a lot of these things you failed at. So why should people give you another chance? Why should they? But one of the big things that I think they need to actually tackle is the debt. Nobody wants to talk about it. It's not sexy. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants to talk about the debt. It's massive. It's huge. It's really not. It's spending is what they need to tackle. That's the biggest thing. It's not revenue, right? It's the receipts. The receipts we have, based on the revenue we have, is we're writing checks that our ass really can't cash.
Revenues are up this year. Believe it or not, we cut taxes at the beginning of the year, and we have higher revenues this year. Why do we have higher revenues? Because we have faster economic growth, higher wages, more taxes are coming into the government. We had 4.2% growth in this last quarter. That higher economic growth brings in more revenue.
Yeah, it does. But in saying that, nobody really wants to attack those things, right? Nobody does. Because you're talking about stuff as it grows and grows and grows, and people look at it. That's a touchy-feely world. It's touchy-feely. I don't want to talk about that because I don't want to get rid of Social Security. I don't want to get rid of Medicare. I don't want to get rid of Medicare. I don't want to get rid of these things because if I do, I'm going to be in trouble for it. If I take these things on, these quote-unquote, as some people call them, entitlements, now Social Security, you pay into that. But I'm 47. I'm under no illusion that I'm going to see any of that stuff. But I'm more worried about the giant, huge growth of this crushing us than I am whether or not I'll see Social Security at this moment in time.
I have to ask you about the national debt, $21 trillion, the deficit, $779 billion. Some predicting that could reach $1 trillion in 2019. What's going on with the debt?
It's very disturbing, and it's driven by the three big entitlement programs that are very popular, Medicare, Social Security, and Medicaid. That's 70% of what we spend every year. The funding of the government is about 30% of what we spend.
Yeah, that's big. So what do we do, right? What do we do? Well, first and foremost, we have to do something that no part of government ever wants to do, which is cut.
I'm having a cabinet meeting in a little while, and we're going to ask every secretary to cut 5% for next year.
Cut 5%. Cut 5%. Why is it that we continue to grow at the rate that we're growing? We continue to grow. Everybody, this is the thing. When we talk about the waste of money in government, you have to spend your money to keep your money. There's no want or need to save any money. You want to grow your area, right? Like, so if you're in a private business and you go out today and you talk to your boss, they're going to give you, hey, you know what? This is what we want you to grow your area. Want you to grow all of these things, and we want you to grow it and grow it and grow it, and with that, you're going to get a bonus, right? But you got to go out and work for it hard. Where in government, it's like we got to spend everything we have because we got to tell everything the area is growing. We've got to, and the only way we can do that is by spending all of our money and then going back and saying we don't have any. We don't have any money. We need more money because I don't want to cut. You know what I'd rather see them do? Say, I want you guys to go and figure out how you can cut 5 or 10%. And if you come in under budget, we'll give you guys bonuses, real bonuses. I'm okay with that. I'd rather spend some to make some, if you will. Meaning, you know what? Everybody, we're cutting across the top 10%. Okay, so maybe that saves us some money, cuts in the deficit a little bit. That sounds great. But let's incentivize them if that's what we have to do. And saying, even though we're cutting 10%, let's just say you get $100 million for your little area over here, which is nothing. It's a drop in the bucket. And last year you spent $120 million because you felt you had to, otherwise you weren't going to get any of it. And it was about keeping your budget and growing your area. And you're saying, look, can you do the same for $100 million or less? Let's just say for the sake of argument, you do the same or a better job at $95 million. We can split it up amongst everybody else, keeping it down there. Do something to incentivize them. Trump wants to cut. I like it.
That's a very, very important request that I'm making of everybody sitting around this table. It's tremendous amounts of money, and it's something that we can do, and I believe we can actually do it easily.
Yeah, I think we could actually do it. And this right here, this should make all the people on the left feel good. He won't get any credit for saying something like this, and we'll see if they follow through on it.
You take a look at the money that was spent on these windmills that are killing all the birds and lots of other problems and destroying values. And I'm okay with it. I don't like giving subsidy to that, though.
Yeah, I don't like giving subsidies either. But Chad, well, windmills are bad. We found out last week from Harvard they're horrible. Got to get rid of them. They're worse. Their carbon footprint's bigger. I don't want to subsidize anybody. And I don't want to give money to anything. Tax cuts, I mean, we can sit here and talk about that all day long. But we got to figure out a way to cut this thing. And as we become more modern, why is it the more technologically driven we get, the worse it gets for us? We can make cuts across the board. We can streamline things. We should be able to. We're not. We're not. And the deficit grows. And you can cut, or you can continue to spend. But eventually, that bow's going to break, and we're going to sink. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Love hearing from you. A lot of stuff, kids. Canada, eh? What have they done, eh? Oh, for sure. Today was the day, eh? Oh, we're going to talk about that. Also, a website I've become obsessed with. You're going to become obsessed with it. I'm going to tell you about it. It is sad, it is interesting, and it makes you want to actually try it once just to see how it goes. Oh, wait till you hear this. Speaking of websites, I want you to go to bombfell.com. Yesterday, I'm going to post a video up. I was dressed to the nines yesterday. I had a meeting. Bombfell dressed me, fellas. Let me tell you something. Thousands upon thousands of guys are understanding you got to look good, right? You want to feel good, and you also don't want to go anywhere. We live in a world now where we like stuff to come to us. That's where Bombfell comes in. They're going to dress you to the nines, as we would say, and they're going to do it with the best brands in the world. You're not going to have to go anywhere. First things first, when you go to bombfell.com, right, you're going to get a dedicated personal stylist. My guy, his name's Michael. Know a lot about him. We chat back and forth. He picks out the stuff, says he think you might like these are the hip and cool things. This is going to make you look good. He sends it to me. My size, fits perfect, feels amazing. When you put on clothes that are really good clothes, not cheap, aren't you surprised at how good it fits? You're like, wait a minute. Yeah. Oh, it's incredible. And you look credible. You feel good. That's where it comes in. So what they do is they ship you out stuff. You try it all on. What you keep, you pay for. They have free return shipping. If you buy things, multiple items, you get a 20% off when you buy multiple items. So thousands of guys like myself, and now you are going to find this out. It's the best way to shop. It's the only way to shop. Go to Bombfell today, bombfell.com/Benson, $25 off your first purchase, BOMBFELL.com/Benson, $25 off your first purchase, bombfell.com/Benson. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, ChadBenson, Chad Benson Show.
Darn, that climate change. Batten down the hatches. It's Topical Storm Chad, headed your way.
All right. Now, I saw this, and I'm like, there's no way this can be real. And the next thing you know is I go and check it out. It's a website, right? So it's a website. In fact, Time's 50 Genius Companies for 2018. I start looking through the website, and lo and behold, it's real. How real is it? Oh, kids, you're going to get stuck on it. I'm going to tell you that right now. So I hope you're in a place where once you start cruising it, you're not going to be able to get off of it. It is part entertainment. It is part train wreck, and it's something I may participate in as far as getting somebody to do something for us. It's called Cameo.
What's up, everyone? This is Ryan Lochte, and I'm so excited to be a part of Cameo.
What's going on? It's Lance from NSYNC. And Brady, I was really impressed with the dance moves of your nephew, and I was thinking maybe we could start a new boy band.
Hello, Tom and Gregory. Happy birthday. I understand that you're both turning 60 this fall, but the celebrations are not even. That doesn't sound right. It sounds a little gay.
Hello, Sophie. This is Todrick Hall, and this video is to you from your best friend. It's me, Andy Dick, giving you a shout out from your boyfriend, Jonathan.
Hey, Melinda. Brett Favre here. I wanted to wish you a happy 60th.
Hey, Stacy, it's Tommy Lee. What's up? Your husband says I'm a rock star, but you know what? You're the fucking rock star.
Oh, God,
So
that's
here's
terrible.
what it isn't awful. Andy Dick is, by the way, I've gone on to Andy, just watching him do these things. If you don't know what it is, so you go online and they have all of these. You can browse the talent, as they say. So they have all these talents, or whatever they are. And it's kind of like, it's like a birthday or a friendship gram or whatever it is meets a GoFundMe for celebrities. So it's all kinds of people. So you've got Snooki and you got Lance Bass and Perez Hilton and TJ Lavin, the BMX star. You've got Montel Ball, the former running back. You've got all of these. And there's thousands of people, boxing, fighters, bloggers, bodybuilders, Broadway stars, Vanderpump, MTV, YouTube stars, comedians, Real Housewives, YouTube stars that are like big time, just musicians that are on there. I mean, you name it. They've got it. Gamers, and you pay different amounts of money, and you send them a request, and then they film it, and then they send it back to you. Andy Dick is like $50. For $50, he'll essentially do anything you want. And you're like, and I'm watching this, and as I'm watching this, I feel weird because you're like, oh, that'd be kind of neat, And at the same time, it's uncomfortable because you're like, I'm watching a guy who is essentially a mess do anything I want for $50 as far as say anything. Now, some people won't say anything, right? But there's some other people. Brett Favre's on here, right? Like, Brett Favre's on here. When I saw Pete Rose was on here, I'm like, here's one for you, producer Phil from the Wayback Machine. Ruth Buzzy.
I could go with that.
You're gonna have to teach her. Okay, turn it around. Turn the phone around. Turn. Oh, never mind. We give up. Marshall Falk, right? Oh my Lord. Ryan Cabrera, Ian Ziering. Oh, Ian Ziering. I might get that for you, Phil, because we know your love. I might get that for you and Dana because we know your love of Sharknado.
And 90210.
And 90210. So it's called Cameo.com. If you're looking for 20 minutes of I can't believe this is happening, but I want to be a part of it, just go there. You'll get lost in it. It's a rabbit hole that is both weird, wacky, entertaining, and sad at times. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. A cop pulls up with a couple kids who've got a pellet gun. What do you hear what he did? It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thought and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
He sure seems inclined to believe those denials, as he told the Associated Press, "Here we go again, you're guilty until proven innocent. I don't like that." And then he actually went on to compare the situation with the Saudis and the accusations against his Supreme Court pick, Brett Kavanaugh, saying, quote, "We just went through that with Justice Kavanaugh, and he was innocent all the way as far as I am concerned." The president seems very much inclined to believe the Saudi denials in this case.
So, I don't know what happened. What we do know is the Saudis played a huge part in this, but let's just break this thing down. So you've got a guy here, Jamal Khashoggi, who is a writer for the Washington Post. He was educated, at least his college education was here in America. I think went to Indiana State. He's got 3 kids that are American, born and raised here. So he's a guy that is influential, almost 2 million Twitter followers, really influential, wanders in, going to get some paperwork for his wedding. He's in Turkey, goes into the Saudi Arabian consulate, never returns, gets chopped up and put in acid or whatever. We're not quite sure exactly how everything went down, but we do know there are certain things that we do know. How high did it go? Some of the close people around the prince, the guy that's running everything in Saudi Arabia, the royal family, the security detail, some of those guys are there. Why did they kill him? All of those things that people are going to try to find out. But then you start to say, okay, well, Trump needs to walk away. We need to step away from this. We need to get away from this. It's not as cut and dry as people think, because we're just like, you're a bad person. We want no part of this. You would think, oh, it's that easy. But it's a difficult thing. It's kind of like getting a divorce, right? You got kids and you've got all kinds of stuff, and it's just not walking away. You've got stuff financially. Everything's intertwined, and it's tough to do something like we're just going to turn around and walk away.
Financial relationships between U.S. and Saudi companies, governmental relationships, things we work on together all across the world. The efforts to reduce the risk to the United States of America from the world's largest state sponsor of terror, Iran.
And that's a big part of it. So it's not just Iran and the footprint that they're trying to grow there as they continue to sponsor terror. It's cutting off their money. It's doing a lot of different things and trying to, stop their influence in that area of the world. But there's the financial side. They invest into a lot of our companies. They're wanting to become a leader in the world of investment. They're trying to get away from fossil fuels. They want to be a leader in clean energy. They're trying to do certain things that would modernize them. And it's not as easy as that. But the big thing for us is we look at Iran and we say, we want no part of what they're offering the world. We're not talking about the Iranian people. We're talking about the leaders over there who are the state sponsors of terrorists, who do push things out, who do want to spread their hate everywhere, who are doing awful things. And the fact that they're starting to, hopefully they can spread out is the way they're looking at it. And all of a sudden we're like, look, Saudi Arabia can't stand them either. They're mortal enemies. And you've got Israel who can't stand them. So what we need to do is hopefully align ourselves in a way that can slow them down. Obviously with Israel, that's not a big deal. But Saudi Arabia, because of this weird relationship, got 9/11, got all this stuff. It's not as cut and dry as people make it out to be, that Trump should just say, because if we step away here and we don't have a backup plan, what is the backup plan? Is it Egypt? Is it Jordan? Is it a few other nations that maybe we can help out with as far as arming and helping them in ways financially that will reduce the chance of us having to get involved later on down the road if they did do something crazy? That's a possibility. That is a possibility. I don't know. But it's not as simple as people want to make it out to be.
We can't condemn other despots for butchering their own people if we don't condemn Saudi Arabia. But that doesn't mean that we have to just cut them off like a dead stump, that's like some of my colleagues want to do. That's unrealistic.
Yeah, and it is unrealistic. And you're getting a lot of people out there saying, we need to get away from this. This is awful. This is awful. We need to get away from him. I get it. Trust us. I mean, I want to reduce our footprint in a lot of places, and there's things that I would love to see us do, but globally, it's just not something we can do anymore. And it's not as simple. And Trump's going to have to make a decision. Now, he can make a decision that the Congress can say, we're doing our own thing. But you have Senator Graham and a few others out there that just want us to say it's enough is enough, because there are people who feel like when Graham is angry and upset like he was yesterday about this, he feels like he was hoodwinked. Well, part of that is because he pushed so hard for the Saudis and his arms deals, and now he feels like, whoa, look what you guys have done. You make me look like a fool. Well, you watch this. We're going to back this thing out. It's not that simple. We're intertwined in a lot of different ways. So it's going to be interesting to see how Trump handles this going forward. And this is one of his first real big tests when it comes on the giant political stage. Where, the other stuff that we've seen out there, whether it be Korea and a lot of other stuff, it was showy. The stuff behind the scenes was real, with Pompeo still going over the negotiation and some of the other things that are happening that we don't talk about. The fact that we've armed the Ukrainians, the fact that we're doing a lot of different things that against Russia, as far as how hard we've been with some of our sanctions, that doesn't get really talked about much because it gets overshadowed by Russia, or it gets overshadowed by Horseface in the tweet. It gets overshadowed by a lot of this, but this is real. This is a big, big situation that he's going to have to deal with in the coming days. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. So I found this to be really, really interesting. Cop gets a phone call. How many times have we heard this? Cop gets a phone call. There's a kid with what looks like a gun. And then what happens over and over and over and over again that we'll see on numerous occasions is cop gets there, pulls out, kid got a gun, gets killed. It's a black kid. It's a white cop. Boom. Story for days. This didn't end that way. And it ended in a way that I think is you know what? It's just real. And when you listen to the cop, I tell you what, he's a good dude, and it really is an eye-opener.
If Officer Peter Casuccio, seen here with his gun drawn, had fired when he saw two boys with a gun. The gun was really a pellet gun, something that earned the two boys a lecture caught on body cam.
Do you think I want to shoot an 11-year-old? Do you think I want to shoot a 13-year-old?
Talisa says when her son watched our story on the encounter, he started crying, realizing how close he came to being shot.
Yeah, I started crying myself because I could have lost my child. The officer could have shot you right there and the gun looked very real.
Yeah, the gun looked extremely real. Extremely real. You think about it. You're a cop. You're old. This is what you get, right? Because I watch my favorite show, Friday and Saturdays, Live PD, right? You get this thing where such and such is happening, and you roll up to it. So what did he get a report of? There was a couple kids with a gun. Somebody drives by. They're going 60 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour on the road, and they see some kids pointing guns or a gun at something, and they say to themselves, oh, I should call the police. They call the police, and the cops get that, and they roll on up.
As soon as I stepped out of the car, a young male wearing a gray jumpsuit with red stripes pulled what would appear to be a gun out of his waistband and threw it off to the ground.
How old are you, boy?
11 years old.
How old are you, young man?
13.
Do you think I want to shoot an 11-year-old? Do you think I want to shoot a 13-year-old? Do I honestly look like the type of dude that wants to shoot anybody? But do I look like the type of dude that will shoot somebody? All right.
Yeah, I like that. He gave him a lecture. He gave them a real lecture. And it was, first of all, they were respectful little kids. They, I think they knew they did something wrong. And I'm not one to sit, I don't want to be overly prescient in any situation because when I was a kid, we all had little fake guns and stuff. Now, we didn't take them anywhere. We had our little BB guns. We'd shoot them in the backyard or we'd go somewhere where it was controlled, but we didn't go out with them. And they were those old air pump rifles. But these guns nowadays, they don't look like that. They don't. And this guy, man, you know what? There's a cop because we hear too often that, and this guy's not going to get the credit he deserves rolling up on two kids who look like they had a gun for real because there's not the story there and a narrative to paint.
And you see the gun leaving his hand, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw it bust into a million pieces once it hit the sidewalk. And that's when I realized it was a BB gun.
I pride myself being a pretty bad hombre, right?
Yes, sir.
Because I gotta be. Don't make me.
It's a millisecond.
I could have killed you. I want you to think about that tonight when you go to bed. You could be gone. Everything you want to do in this life could have been over.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the way he handled it was great. And when you listen to his mom talk about that, and she realized how close it was, but as you roll up and you see somebody with a gun, what do you do?
The airsoft guns are similar to paintball guns, using a CO2 cartridge to fire a pellet. Tamir Rice was shot and killed by a Cleveland police officer in 2014, while the boy had a similar gun. Tyree King had one when he was shot and killed by a Columbus officer in 2016. So why do kids carry these weapons, so easily mistaken for the real thing?
Many of them were carrying them around to look tough.
For Talisa Soul and her son, their lesson was learned with just a stern talking to and not bloodshed.
He was very scared. He said he would never do it again.
Yeah, and I, judging by seeing those kids and the way they acted, and again, yes, sir, no, sir, the whole 9 yards. Just, I don't think they will do it again. I think they realize, yeah, you know what, this was stupid. This was close. This was really close. But I think it's a lesson to be learned there, and I think the way he handled it and the lecture itself, I think it was more than just for these kids. I think it's for a lot of kids out there. 323-538-2423. That's the text line. So, Phil, I'm getting a few of these. Damn you, Chad. I've already spent an hour looking at Cameo.com instead of working. I wish it had a sort by price function. Chad, I'm stuck on it, going down the rabbit hole. Thank you. It is. You're going to get stuck and you get in that rabbit hole. You're like, okay, how far down can I go? Who's this? Who's this person? And some of them, like, they're stars in, like, the Instagram world. And then you go and I'm like, I've never heard of them. And then I've clicked on a few and I'm like, they have like 3 million followers. Like, that's a captured audience that they had. Wow, that's nuts, right? Still, though, Andy Dick, I think it's like $40. Man, he is, goodness me. You know who's not on there? Who should be? What's Knight Rider's name? What's his name?
David Hasselhoff?
God, yeah, that screams of a Hoff, right? Gary Busey? Like, who should be on Cameo should be the question. Hasselhoff would be awesome. That would be great. 323-538-2423. If you've not seen it, go to Cameo.com. It's just essentially a half-ass GoFundMe, half meet your favorite star from yesteryear or Instagram star from today, and they'll do a personalized message for you. And it is, oh, my Lord. Oh, goodness me. Oh, sleeping. I like to do it. Tonight I'm going to be sleeping like a baby. Last night, not so much. Didn't have my pillow with me. I went and saw a movie late last night. I went and saw the original Halloween, so I ended up staying in a hotel where I didn't have my pillow with me, and it was great seeing the movie, but not so great not sleeping. I'm telling you guys, my pillow's incredible, and what it's done for my sleep is amazing. And the little things, if you're trying to lose weight or you're trying to maintain your weight, when you're tired, you need more energy. You search for food. That's not a good thing. My Pillow helps you get the rest that you need. More productivity next day, helps with heart health, all of those kind of things that sleep contributes to. More and more studies are showing that. That's why My Pillow is so amazing. 100% machine washable and dryable, made in the USA, 10-year warranty. Are you ready for it? Boom. Buy one, get one free. That's what they're doing for my listeners right now. You guys out there, you can buy a My Pillow. They're going to throw another My Pillow in for free. It is awesome. Call 800-983-4975 or go to mypillow.com. That's mypillow.com. When you do, use the promo code Benson, BENSON, mypillow.com, promo code Benson. Buy one, get one free, or call 800-983-4975, mypillow.com, promo code Benson. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, ChadBenson. Wrap it up and got your useless fact of the day straight ahead. Chad Benson Show.
Set Chad straight. Text the show, 323-538-2423. That's 323-538-CHAD. Someone has to do it. Might as well be you. The Chad Benson Show.
Adults of legal age can purchase and possess cannabis from authorized retailers. They can also grow their own cannabis plants at home in some jurisdictions.
Oh, for sure, eh? Canada is going all weed today. Super legal there, eh? That's what's going on in Canada, man. Canada, man. So Canada is gone very legal. So, wow, you can even grow some. It's weird, the rules are weird. And I don't know if you, like, everybody thinks they look over at Holland and they see Holland and they're like, oh, wow, let's go to Holland, because you can smoke weed over there in Amsterdam and things of that nature. It's all legal, kinda, because you can't transport it. So you can sell it and smoke it in some of the shops, but you can't transport it. So getting it to there is illegal. And what'd you say, Phil? In D.C., you can't buy it, so somebody will buy a sock for $100 and they get a bag of weed?
That's exactly what they do.
Yeah. See, there's all these, and it's so, why are we doing this, right? I mean, it doesn't work. Prohibition and this kind of stuff. Did it stop people drinking alcohol? No.
Strict prohibition does not work. Under the previous approach, it was easier for a teenager to gain access to a joint than a bottle of beer. Well, as we said, criminals reap huge profits.
Yeah, and it's ridiculous. And I think we need to do it, and more than just states. I mean, let's just get this thing reclassified. Let's legalize it. And I know there's a lot of stuff out there. Well, big business. Yeah, big business. Get big business involved. That's what has to be done. Because what is it right now? Starbucks is looking at it. I think Coca-Cola is now on board. And I hear, I don't know if you guys hear this, but among many radio stations out there, High Times is now up for investment. So you can invest in high times. Things like that. And people are looking around. How can I get involved in this? It's kind of the Wild West, and you should look into getting involved in it. But as far as just being adults, can we just stop pretending? Just for a second? Again, I don't smoke. I don't smoke weed. I don't eat any edibles. I don't do any of that stuff. And I don't care if anybody else does. If you're an adult, and it's nothing wrong with it. There isn't. And this whole thought process of this weird nanny status, if we can't, God, it drives me crazy. You know, California and Washington State and Colorado, and everybody kind of dips their toe into it. It's just completely stupid. It really is. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Producer Anthony said he thought Hasselhoff was on there. He's not on there. Cameo.com. You guys need to go check it out. You're going to get lost in it. The website itself is like a GoFundMe for D-listers who will send you a private message, a personalized message of how cool you are, your husband loves you. It is hilarious. And you said George Takei, and I would think Shatner. This is a perfect thing for him. It's great. Check it out. Here's your useless fact of the day, kids. Does anybody, Phil, do you know who Robert Zimmerman is?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's his other name?
Oh, Bob Dylan.
There you go. Look at that. Bob Dylan. So today when somebody says, you could throw this out there, you know who Robert Zimmerman is? They're like, yeah. And they're like, who? And you don't know? You're like, Bob Dylan. What? Little useless information. It's going to get stuck in your brain. Have yourself a wonderful rest of your hump day. Night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.